A silent crisis is unfolding in America's heartland. The world's food supply chain is more fragile than we think. On July 15, 2025, the Canadian government halted all potash exports to the United States. This isn't just a trade dispute, it's a direct threat to American farmers' ability to feed the nation and the world. Global food security depends on stable trade and reliable supply chains. For decades, the U.S. has relied on Canada for potash, a key fertilizer ingredient. Without it, crop yields plummet, cornfields wither, soybean harvests fail. The breadbasket of the world could face catastrophic decline. Ottawa's decision challenges a century of cooperation and forces us to ask, what happens when a trusted partner turns off the tap? Most people have never heard of potash, yet it's a fundamental building block of our civilization. The food on our tables, the stability of our economy, and millions of livelihoods depend on this humble salt. Canada's move exposes a critical weakness in the American food system. Our ability to eat is tied directly to another nation's political decisions. International leaders are scrambling to understand the implications. Is this the first shot in a new kind of resource war? The decision has thrown global agricultural markets into chaos. Commodity traders panic. Farmers face an uncertain future. The Canadian government claims it's protecting its own resources. For American farmers, it feels like betrayal. The silent crisis is here, and its consequences are unpredictable. The world is watching as the foundation of global food security shakes. The question now, can America adapt before it's too late? The stakes could not be higher. What is potash, and why does it matter? Potash is a group of minerals containing potassium, one of 3 essential nutrients for plant growth. It strengthens crops, boosts yields, and is vital for feeding billions. Potash comes from ancient underground salt deposits, mined and refined into fertilizer. Canada, especially Saskatchewan, holds the world's richest reserves and is the top exporter. The U.S. is the world's leading agricultural powerhouse, but it's not self-sufficient in potash. American farms depend on a steady, affordable supply to stay productive. When that supply is threatened, the entire system shakes. Russia and Belarus also produce potash, but geopolitical instability makes them unreliable. The U.S. built its food security on Canadian potash, and now that pillar is gone. The unseen foundation of American agriculture has been kicked out. Can the system stand without it? The American farmer's bond with Canadian potash spans generations. Since the Green Revolution, U.S. agriculture has relied on a steady flow of Canadian fertilizer. This partnership was built on trust and mutual benefit. The U.S.-Canada border symbolized friendship and open trade. Year after year, the U.S. imported about 75% of its potash from Canada, millions of tons worth billions. Rail networks and distribution hubs were built for this cross-border flow. The system kept costs down and food prices stable, but over time, dependency grew. The U.S. focused on innovation, not on diversifying potash sources. No one planned for the day the supply would stop. Now, that unthinkable scenario is reality. The century-old partnership has crumbled. America faces the consequences of complacency. On July 15, 2025, Canada's government announced an immediate halt to all potash exports to the U.S. The move, a response to the ongoing evergreen trade war, came without warning. Markets reacted instantly. Corn and soybean futures soared. Canada defended the ban as a sovereign right to protect its own food security. The U.S. imported over 7 million tons of Canadian potash last year, more than 3/4 of its supply. There's no easy replacement. Other sources are tied up in conflict or sanctions. Ramping up new production would take years. The American agricultural system was never built for this kind of shock. Stakeholders on both sides are reeling. The North American trade system, built over generations, broke in a single day. The shockwave is just beginning to spread. The full impact is yet to be felt. For American farmers, this is an immediate existential threat. With fertilizer season weeks away, they scramble for a product that's suddenly vanished. Without potash, soil is depleted, crops are weak, and yields drop. For many family farms, a bad harvest means bankruptcy. Domestic suppliers are overwhelmed. Prices have tripled or quadrupled overnight. Large corporate farms might secure some supply, but small farms are left with nothing. The rural economy suffers as local co-ops and businesses feel the strain. Anxiety and frustration ripple through farming communities. Farmers protest, call representatives, and feel betrayed by a trusted neighbor. Modern agriculture's efficiency comes at a cost. Crops like corn and soybeans are heavily reliant on fertilizer. Some may have to plant less profitable crops or let fields lie fallow. The iconic image of endless golden fields could be replaced by struggling crops and unused land. The social fabric of rural America is at risk. The crisis exposes the vulnerability of specialized, high-efficiency farming. The future of the American farm hangs in the balance. The landscape and the way of life may be changed forever. The economic shockwaves extend far beyond the farm. When fertilizer costs explode, food processors and manufacturers pass those costs to consumers. Prices for bread, cereal, milk, and meat surge. Economists predict grocery bills could rise 20–30% within a year. Low-income families are hit hardest, and food banks are stretched thin. The dream of affordable, abundant food is under threat. America's role as a global food exporter is at risk. Lower yields mean less to sell abroad. Export revenue drops, weakening the economy and creating shortages for countries that rely on U.S. crops. The stock market reels, agriculture-related shares plunge, while non-Canadian potash companies soar. Volatility discourages investment and deepens uncertainty. A single political decision has triggered economic hardship for millions. The crisis is a stark reminder of our interconnected world. A dispute over lumber has become a threat to every American's dinner table. The economic pain is real, and it's just beginning. The fallout will shape the nation for years to come. To grasp the crisis, we turn to the experts. Dr. Amelia Vance, agricultural economist. The U.S. model depends on cheap, plentiful inputs. Remove Canadian potash and the whole system is at risk. Farmers face exploding costs and plummeting revenue. Dr. Ben Carter, political analyst. This is the weaponization of trade. Canada crossed a line, targeting the food supply. Trust is easy to break, hard to rebuild. Maria Flores, supply chain expert. There's no quick fix. Our infrastructure is built for North American trade. Sourcing potash elsewhere would take years and billions. The system is broken. Veteran Nebraska farmer Tom Johnson. We've survived droughts and floods, but this is different. It's like the rules changed overnight. I never thought Canada would be the one to put a knife in our back. The sense of betrayal is deep. The crisis is unprecedented. Experts agree. There's no easy way out. The American food system's vulnerability is now exposed. The path forward will be long and uncertain. Farmers, economists, and policymakers are all searching for answers. The stakes are nothing less than the future of American agriculture. The world is watching how the U.S. responds. The next moves will define the nation's resilience. The clock is ticking. The potash ban has ignited political chaos in Washington. Lawmakers demand action. Some call for retaliation, others urge restraint. The president faces immense pressure, caught between escalation and diplomacy. The crisis exposes deep divisions within the U.S. Farm states want toughness. Industrial states fear more trade war. The issue is a flashpoint in upcoming elections, fueling partisan attacks. Internationally, allies watch with concern. If the U.S. and Canada can weaponize food, what's next? China and Russia see opportunity. Global institutions are powerless. The crisis erodes decades-old norms of trade and cooperation. Even if the ban ends, trust is shattered. The U.S. will now see Canada as a strategic risk, not just a friend. A massive push to diversify potash supplies and invest in domestic production is inevitable. The era of easy, trust-based trade across the border may be over. The potash crisis is a wake-up call. Our most basic systems are more fragile than we imagined. The only immediate solution is diplomacy. Leaders must step back from the brink. A trade war over food has no winners. The U.S. must build resilience, diversify suppliers, invest in domestic production, and innovate in agriculture. National security means being able to feed ourselves. This will require bipartisan commitment and public investment. The world must learn, weaponizing food, water, or energy is a dangerous path. Global food security depends on cooperation, not conflict. The crisis forces us to confront the hidden costs of globalization. Building a resilient future won't be easy, but it's essential. The choices we make now will shape the future of American farms and the world's food supply. We must learn from this silent crisis before it's too late.